All right, all right, all right. All right, all right, all right. Let's get ready to go live. Let's go live in five, four, three, two, one. All right, all right, all right. Let's get ready to go live. Let's go live in five, four, three, two, one. All right, all right, all right. Let's get ready to go live. Live in five, four, three, two, one. All right, all right, all right. Let's get ready to go live in five, four, three, two, one. All right, all right, all right. Let's get ready to go live. Live in five, four, three, two, one. Let's get ready to go live in five, four, three, two, one. Yeah, let's do it. Let's go ahead and get live. Yeah, it looks like the feedback loop is working, guys. I was double checking there on the old boob tube. So if it's your first time, don't let it be your last time. Frank Monday coming at you once again, like Finn again. It is a Saturday, May 24th, here in the central kingdom of the celestial dragon, Twilight Zone, old Peking, far behind the bamboo firewall. It's in the AMs. And for now, dear listener, it's just you and me. In fact, for now, dear listener, it's just you and me. And for now, dear listener, it's just you and me. And for now, dear listener, it's just you and me. Me being Frank Monday, and I am your host for the hour. I'm going to go ahead and read the invocation of Tahuti for you. I like to start off the show with a quick prayer. So we'll do the adoration of Abraxas. Before we do that, make sure you check me out on www.buymeacoffee.com/Frank Money. Put a little something in the tip jar. That'll put the lead in my pencil, the pep in my step, and all that happy horseshit that makes YouTube's algorithms bark like Pavlov's dog. So let me see if I can even find it. I've got that, and that. It doesn't look like I've got it loaded up, guys. So maybe we'll just we'll go from memory here. By the light of the North Star, our paths cross, dear Wayfarer, and a mysterious adventure towards spiritual cultivation is beginning. The universal concourse of all souls in reunion with Source is our destination. And from the depths of the Fathomless Cavern to the Spectral Abodes of the Underdark, through the Chamber of Echoes and the Labyrinth of Mirrors, up the Ladder of Ascent to the Ledge of Revelation, onward and upward beyond Dreamland to the Celestial Realm and the Timeless Homeland. Join me on the Fool's Journey from a naive awareness to the heights of spiritual mastery. Holy art thou, Lord of the universe, the vast and the mighty one, creator, sorry, creator of heaven and earth, maker of all things visible and invisible. We adore thee and we invoke thee. Send us one of your divine spiritual agents, our holy guardian angel, to protect and guide us through the innumerable snares of the earthly sphere, and a cleansing wind to disperse all negativity and endless human opinion. Teach us those secret things which we must know for the completion of the great work and the glory of thine ineffable name, Adonai. So it is commanded and confirmed, so mote it be. Amen. Good magic. I hope you guys can get the message that I'm trying to reach 1,000 subs, and it's proving to be really hard. Like, how do you pick up subs these days anyway, right? Subscribers. So make sure you hit the subscribe button. Um, if you can, grab a friend's phone or a family member's phone and sub them as well. Put it in the covert way, though, so that they don't get notifications that would bother them necessarily. But being subbed is not something that's going to hurt anybody, right? One way or the other. So secretly sub your grandma for me, guys. I'd appreciate that. I'd like to remind you that you have within you a mighty power that can and will manifest all that you desire. All ye need do is ask, and you shall receive. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and all doors of the temple will fly open before you. So that's good magic, Wayfarer. I'll throw it up there in case anybody forgets the address. It is buymeacoffee.com/Frank Monday. Make sure you guys get over there and say hello. Say hello on the coffee page, man. That's really helpful. So I was thinking about today the various things that I posted here in the chat room before I began the show. I said the question I wanted to ask, right? Hope y'all are doing well. Is what helps you define your spirituality? How do you approach it? What are some of the parameters that you set out in order to define what spirituality is and spiritual cultivation is for you, dear Wayfarer? Right? Do you think about the future? Do you think how you're going to position yourself to have a better and brighter future based on your spiritual cultivation? Yeah, is that something you ask yourself? Take a moment to reflect. Take a deep breath. Hold for 3, 2, 1, and then relax. Let all the tension, anxiety, any worries, let them all just drift away. Be here in the moment with me now. Cultivate that divine spark within you. Feel its light growing in the darkness. A beacon of hope and salvation. Encouraging you onward and upward out of the darkness and into the light. Remember, O neophyte, goodness alone is power. Silence is strength. Will regaineth omnipotence, and love lieth at the foundation. So are the words of the Hermetic Brotherhood of Luxor. So is the incantation of truth, that the great work is before all things creation of man by himself. That is to say, the total liberation, the total and complete control of his faculties and his future, and it is especially the liberation of the will, emancipation of your will. I got a little bird outside my window. 3 little birds beside my doorstep, singing sweet songs of melodies pure and true, saying, this is my message to you. A singing, don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing's gonna be alright. A singing, don't worry about a thing. Don't worry. Don't worry. Take a deep breath with me, aspirant. Hold for a moment and relax. Once again, letting go of all tension, worry, anxiety, stress, just letting it melt away from body, mind, and spirit. Spirituality. Contemplate the question, what helps you define your spirituality? For me, it's a lot of things, so I'll get into it. I'll start to break it down. Let's delineate it, Frank Monday. Let's get into it. I'll drop the question as we consider it. One thing is a lot of the literature I read. For example, I've been endeavoring to read and read again through the Silver Key and help illuminate the text to an extent that will help other people find out what was going on, right? We can know of Randolph Carter's wandering only what we dream. I've been to many places. I've been to many strange places in dreams, and I have heard many strange and significant things in Ultar, beyond the river sky. It does not appear that the parchment was needed, for certainly Carter re entered the world of his boyhood dreams and is now a reigning king in Ilekvad. Mr. Aspinwall grew doubly apoplectic looking as he sputtered, "Can't somebody shut the old fool up? We've had enough of these moonings. The problem is to divide the property, and it's about time we got to it." For the first time, Swami Chandraputra spoke in his queerly alien voice. "Gentlemen, there's more to this matter than you think. Mr. Aspinwall does not do well to laugh at the evidence of dreams. Mr. Phillips has taken an incomplete view. Perhaps it's because he has not dreamed enough. I myself have done much dreaming. We in India have always done that, just as all the Carters and Mondays seem to have done. You, Mr. Aspinwall, as a maternal cousin, are naturally not a Carter. My own dreams and certain other sources of information have told me a great deal which you still find obscure. For example, Randolph Carter forgot that parchment, which he couldn't then decipher. Yet it would have been well for him had he remembered to take it. You see, I have really learned pretty much what happened to Carter after he left his car with the silver key at sunset on the 7th of October, 4 years ago. Wow, isn't that prescient? How does that fall in line with what happened on the 7th of October 4 years ago? All right. Aspinwall audibly sneered, but others sat up with heightened interest. The smoke from the tripods increased, and the crazy ticking of that coffin-shaped clock seemed to fall into bizarre patterns, like the dots and dashes of some alien and insoluble telegraph message from outer space. The Hindu leaned back, half-closed his eyes, and continued in that oddly labored yet idiomatic voice, while before his audience there began to float a picture of what had happened to Randolph Carter, October 7th, 1928. The hills behind Arkham are full of strange magic, something, perhaps, which the old wizard Edmund Carter called down from the stars and up from the crypts of Nether Earth when he fled there from Salem in 1692. Yeah, it's good magic, man. So, how do you define your spirituality? That's the question presented in the transmission this evening. It is evening for many of you. Let's check the times around the world. We have got 10 a.m. here in Beijing, China. 4 a.m. or 4 p.m. in Stockholm. I think it's 4 p.m. We've got 9 p.m. in Memphis, Tennessee. 4 a.m. in Berlin, Germany. 7 p.m. in Los Angeles, California. They've still got daylight in LA and Denver. 8 p.m. in Denver. 9 p.m. in Dallas. It's already transitioned into the abodes of night in Dallas, Texas, everyone. New York City, 10 p.m. 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. in Dublin and Paris, respectively. So good morning to all of you there in Europe. Good evening to all of you out there in the Americas. And then good day to all of you down in Oceania and here in broader Asia. Let's see, it's probably getting closer to noon in Japan. So good day to you in Japan. And where's people waking up? Where are people just now waking up? If I start to go west and follow the concourse of the sun as it moves through the sky across the sea level prime material plane. It heads out over, I guess it's probably over Tibet right now, or maybe flaming its way into the Near East. No, it wouldn't be the Near East for you guys. It would be the Far East and then the Middle East. What did I say Dublin's at? It's only 3 a.m., so they can't see the sun yet in Dublin. What did I say? Yeah, 4 a.m. in Paris. We're something a little closer to me. Yeah, I believe that's correct. Yeah. So you guys are you're a couple of hours out from morning yet, still in Paris. So the sun is somewhere Tibet, maybe flying over Tibet right now as we speak. That's good magic. Let's get back into it, guys. But make sure you go over to buy me a coffee and check me out, man. I'm really looking forward to someone checking me out on Buy Me a Coffee and leaving a little message over there for me. Put a little something in the tip jar. Appreciate that. Get it done. As soon as Randolph Carter was back among them, he knew that he was close to one of the gates, which a few audacious, aboard and alien-souled men have blasted through titan walls betwixt the world and the outside absolute. Here, he felt, and on this day of the year, he could carry out with success the message he had deciphered months before from the arabesques of that tarnished and incredibly ancient silver key. He knew now how it must be rotated, how it must be held up to the setting sun, and what syllables of ceremony must be intoned into the void at the ninth and last turning. In a spot as close to a dark polarity and induced gate as this, it could not fail in its primary function. Certainly he would rest that night in the lost boyhood for which he had never ceased to mourn. Yeah, so this is that very day when he's gonna go through the gate of the silver key, right? This very day right here, the 7th of October. We'll get back into it in a minute. Let me jump over here and check the chat, guys. Make sure everyone's doing okay out there in Happy Land. Wayfarer, if this is your first time visiting the Frank Monday channel, you might want to take this opportunity to go now to buymeacoffee.com/Frank Monday. Put a little something in the tip jar, add a little more pep to my step, put the lead in my pencil. That'll help me keep my nose to the grindstone and rolling with the punches, bringing you guys the latest and greatest from the worlds beyond, from that outer absolute. How did he describe it? From that betwixt the world and the outside absolute. So if you don't know, your dear beloved host, Frank Monday, is a spectral traveler of the abodes of Dreamland. And I go there quite often and bring back the golden coins of information to help you get there and understand it better, right? That's how I've set up my spiritual path. My spirituality is in bridging the gap betwixt this world and the outside absolute. And I want to bring you along for the journey with me, but I can only do that if you participate in the 100-day challenges. You get initiated in to the esoteric order of Dagon, where I am Pope and Grand Wizard of that order, self-appointed. And you start to study the material along with me. Otherwise, we're not going to have a shared language, right? We won't have a shared jargon. And that makes it a little more challenging, but that means that there's an upfront investment, right? And there's always an upfront investment in any and all things. So divining spirituality, that's what we're talking about this morning, this evening, this afternoon, or whenever this message is reaching you, Wayfarer. Please remember to hit the like button. Like and subscribe, all that happy horse shit that makes YouTube's algobots bark like Pavlov's dog. Oof, oof. Because aren't we all just barking for the machine? All right. What helps you define your spirituality? Okay. So from a grassroots perspective, got to bring it up from the bottom and bring it into the current day. And then that'll help us penetrate into the future. Hey, the Frank the last Frank Monday Live Jive archive has been unlisted. And so if you don't have the link, 100 people enjoyed and watched that show. It went for a total of 5 hours long. What a thing, huh? That's one of the longest shows I've ever done. I think that is, in fact, the longest show I've ever done. It was with, I believe, Ricardo Sunshine. Yeah. And Voy was in the chat, and everybody stopped by and said hello. So that was good magic. But yeah, I had to unlist it because it had some information in it that I prefer not to keep just open platform in this recent time. If you have the link, you can still reach that old show. I haven't privated it or anything, but I did unlist it because I don't want it to be something that folks stumble across at their first blush, because most people don't look past the basic homepage, and they're not going to dig in, to your videos and look back at like what you've been doing for the last however long, 10 years now. Let me see here. Yeah, close to 10 years. So I joined YouTube in August 28th, 2016. So going on 9 years now. And I've got how many videos on here? It doesn't say. I wonder why. It says I have 1,700 videos, and that's after having deleted about 1,000, maybe more than 1,000 one night. After I continued to get punished by the system during the Great Lockdown, because they didn't want people talking about the lockdown. They didn't want them, they didn't want folks intuitively exposing the sham. And so they were very, very vicious during that time. And it's better just to, push it all under the rug and forget about it and act like it never happened. Wait for the next big one. Hey, we've got a visitor out in Happy Land. It's a monkey man taking a poop. It is TV Test Pattern. Greetings and welcome, TV Test Pattern. I hope you are doing well today. Wandering, what do they call folks these days? Internet tourists, right? Just passing through. So thanks for shouting out on your way through, for poofing off a little noxious gas. Probably smells, sounds, and looks a lot like your personal opinion, right? Something to be wary of, guys. You got to really be careful. There's a lot of jaded people with their dick in the dirt. They're not happy with their own lives, so they don't want you to be happy with your life. Defining spirituality. So when I was a young man, I grew up in a family that was, I don't know, somewhat Christian, I guess, pseudo-Christian. My mom was in it to win it. My dad didn't really care one way or the other, right? He always said that he liked Jesus and Socrates, just like Benjamin Franklin did. But my mom was in it to win it, so she took us there as young children to the church all the time, trying out different churches, trying to find a church that she felt was loving and kind and focused on the right way, to cultivate spirituality in the community. And she became extremely jaded by their behavior, because everywhere she went, right, all the churches she was trying to find in, to find some spiritual light, had a lot of fucking problems, right? A lot of hangups, a lot of drama going on, a lot of nonsense, a lot of the preacher collecting money and buying themselves mansions and cars and nice suits, and entertaining prostitutes, and getting involved in drugs and doing this, that, or the other thing. And so none of them, due to human failings, right? This is for the most part, just the human failings. None of them could represent the message of spirituality correctly. And so when I started to grow into my young adulthood, I had a foundation of my mom's searching for spirituality and being heartbroken by it. And I thought, yeah, well, it's neither one way or the other, and it doesn't really matter that much. But, at some point, you have to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. And so I grew up as a mainstay in practicing martial arts like karate and kung fu. And I thought, there's a lot of spiritual aspects to the movement arts. And I was interested in dance and art and this kind of thing as well. And I did a lot of reading of spiritual books, books on spiritualism from different traditions. I didn't really find a lot of resonance in the Indian ones, like the Hindu message didn't really appeal to me very much. But what did appeal to me was like the new spirit movements and true thought movements and stuff like this that were about 100 years old at that time already. And then these led me to investigating books on ancient forms of magic, and a lot of these, like King Solomon's clavicus, what do they call it? It's the Clavicus Solomonus, which includes the Greater and Lesser Lemegeton and the Goetia. And the way it was presented by various authors were, it started off with a lot of prayers to God and his angels. And I found this to be both off putting and attractive at the same time. I thought, well, like if the church has failed and human human error makes the church look bad, then I thought maybe the message isn't necessarily totally totally wrong. And so I thought, well, who were the great magicians of the Bible days and what magics were they doing? Because that was the most interesting part to me. Obviously, many people will say, oh, the Bible says you shouldn't do sorcery. Yeah, well, angelic magic and praying to God and using his formulas of magic are not sorcery. They're magic. It's very different. We spell magic with a K as a magical practitioner of the Hermetic Brotherhood of Luxor. So I'm a member of the Hermetic Brotherhood of Light, a member of the Ordo Templi Astarte, and the Universal Society of the Integral Way. And I have my own order that I head up as Pope and Grand Wizard, which is the Esoteric Order of Dagon, the China branch. So if you are in the area, if you're in Beijing and you'd like to hang out and talk shop, definitely stop by and say hello. Um, Getting back into the story, right, bringing it forward. So she kind of gave up onto it and gave up on that aspect of it and just started reading a lot of novels. She's still interested in spirituality, still bringing forth proverbs and psalms and stuff like that, but she was no longer interested in active participation in organized religion as far as like a Christian church in any of the neighborhoods that we grew up in. And again, it was due to the human failings of the people bringing the message forward. So, right, don't kill the messenger. In fact, sometimes you do have to kill the messenger, right, and get right down to the message. And if the messenger is trying to bring forward that message, but they're filled with their own type of darkness and problems, then probably better off avoiding them, right? It's said within the Taoist tradition that it's better to be alone than to be in bad company. And so I would definitely rather be alone than be among internet tourists who are just trying to cause trouble and bring forward their own pain to inflict it upon you. Yeah, you don't ever have to entertain that, right? So my spirituality started to be cultivated through the idea of exercise and memorization of certain formulaic processes like doing katas, right? Forms, and then circulating the energy through the body and learning how the various energy levels oscillate throughout the day. And then it wasn't until I got to like junior high level that I really broke through the wall of sleep. And when I broke through the wall of sleep, I knew that there was an entirely different realm available to us, one of great spiritual potency, and where you could directly communicate with some of these eternal luminous beings, right? Lower level hierarchies of the angelic forces that are nearer to the human being. And so if we look at maybe some of the way the Catholics or the Jews lay out the celestial kingdom, right? They have the God force, the Godhead up at the top, the Ein Sof Or, that endless, limitless light that man cannot easily know from his position on earth, right? And then descending down from that are all the various hierarchies of angels and powers and different luminous beings that show adoration to the light. And then if you go that reaches down into the human realm. And then if you start to go down below the human realm, you enter into the realm of the Clipoth and the shells, the cast off shells, the broken shells, basically where we live. But the realm after death, the necromantic realm, is where the hungry ghosts and demons and other nefarious shadow creatures dwell. And so you're given a clear delineated path out of darkness and into the light, and an upward ascending spiritual positive cultivation that can be done through your own understanding and realization. Whereas some say you must bow before the Buddha in order to receive entry, right? Or you must be washed clean in the blood of Christ. And so those are all just seem to be different articulations arriving at the same thing, the fool's journey from ignorance to knowledge to wisdom, and then back again, right? And yeah, so that kind of sets up the groundwork for what I'm talking about here. And that brings me into the next question. How do you understand your cosmology? So take a moment, if you would, Wayfarer. Take a deep breath with me. Inhale. Hold for a moment. And exhale and relax. Right? Once again, let go of all that tension and anxiety and worry, and let go of those things that hurt you. You don't have to hurt other people just because you've been hurt in the past. You can let go of your ennui and your angst and your sense of jadedness, right? And your vitriol. All of those things that we know create acidic states in the human being. You can let go of those and let some of the more alkaline energies blend a little bit and kind of temper your acidity with a deep breath and hold. Go ahead and let it go and relax. Continue deep, rhythmic, natural breathing. How would you articulate your cosmology? I'd like to know from you, Wayfarer, whether you're listening to this in the present or the future, or perhaps it's in the past from when I cross paths with you again and reference it. It could be any one of those. You could be listening to it in the past as I move forward into my future. You could be joining me now and listening to it in the present, or maybe at a future time that you receive this message. Leave it in the comments below. You can do it that way. You can keep the conversation going by tuning in and letting me know how you understand your cosmology. I'm going to take a few moments to reflect. 2 moments of natural rhythmic breathing, contemplating the question myself. I invite you to do the same, Wayfarer. All right, welcome back, Wayfarer. I hope you are doing well. So, having taken a few moments to relax and contemplate the question of cosmology, I reflect as I do in a daily way about cosmology, the the origin, like how it all comes about, right? And we have these basic scientific understanding of what they call the Big Bang. And this is known as evolution theory, right? Big Bang theory and then evolution theory. So we have all this random chaos emerging and these hundreds of millions of years and billions of years of a creative process that brings about Monkey Man rising up and out of the dirt. And to counterbalance that understanding, there was brought forward that of various religions throughout the realm. And some of those say, well, it may not in fact be that. It may be a creative process where there was an omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent dweller beyond the threshold, a great being of power that wanted to remove his or herself, itself, from the space in which it occupied, and as it withdrew from that space, it underwent a creation process of filling various spheres with its own light energy, this limitless, timeless light. And as it did so, some of those vessels cracked, and we received a realm of the cast off shells, the shells cast back to their habitation. Yeah. This is the Judaistic view of a creator God. And they identified him or her or it and them in different ways throughout their teachings. The Elohim were known as the creator gods of the ancient religion. And there were older gods still. The greater god, Ahava, right? Aniahava. And then there were other gods of the desert that came in and did various things. And there were many gods, and they were their gods. But I am your God, spoke Jehovah, right? Yod-Heh-Vah-Heh, the Tetragrammaton over the Hebrew people. And so we have this counterbalance. And I like to think of it in terms of a yin-yang symbol. On one side, you have the people, the scientific materialists who believe there is no God. And so I call them those without spirit, the Meo Shen Lun Duren, right? The Ushen Lun, which means they lack any type of spiritual reality, right? They think that it's all just flesh and bones and dirt and metal and water, and we're all wrapped around a gravitational center flying through space at, whatever, 65,000 miles an hour, and we're headed into straight darkness. But at the same time, all of it seems to be very consistent and unmoving. And and that's an illusion, because the truth of it is it's all in fucking really powerful motion. So you try to wrap your head around that and then counterbalance that with what I call the have spirit people, the religious folks, the cultivators, the shamans, the wizards and priests class, that try to give you this understanding that, well, yeah, we don't know exactly how it all went down, but it seems to have an intelligent design. And there most certainly is a penetrating God force bringing this creation into being. And I feel like I have a high enough level of intelligence that I can entertain both ideas without committing to either one. But I definitely prefer the celestial descent, that we arrived from a timeless homeland of preforms, and then we descended into this world, which is one level of cultivation. And so, according to the ancient teaching of Tao, they say that heaven and earth are the spontaneous manifestations of the subtle, wondrous, universal law. And so, as a foundation of my cosmology, there's the universal law that there is something in motion, right? Set in motion, this interaction between the lofty, subtle spiritual energies above, rising all the way up to the celestial dome and the timeless homeland, and then down here on Earth at the human level where we connect the lower realm to the upper realm, we experience that connection being manifest above terra firma, right? And then there's a realm below too, the subterranean realm that goes down into Hades and the deep, dark, cavernous worlds below. And so I put myself, or I don't put myself, but from having all this learning, is I establish a center of being the bridge between the worlds above and below, right? And we're given a choice according to the traditions that I study, and you can either choose to, work on virtue and try to cultivate not only human virtues, but above human virtues, superhuman virtues, and then you can reach the realms above. And if you degenerate, if you fail to cultivate at least your endowment of human virtue, right, and you just exhaust it all into the world and to go about in a way of dissolution and disintegration, then that's your reward. And so the people who have as their reward atheism and nihilism, then those are self-fulfilling prophecies. And then other folks who choose to have maybe an eternal homeland and the kingdom of heaven within themselves, and then work towards the spiritual cultivation and realization of that in their own lives, then they have that as their reward. It's also a self-fulfilling prophecy. So you better be very clear. I think that you better be pretty clear on how you establish and develop your cosmology so that you're headed to the place you want to go. And if you're an atheist, and I know some of you are, then there's nothing wrong with that. You're headed exactly where you want to go. You're headed through life and you're enjoying maybe your hedonistic lifestyle and groping and grabbing and searching. And, your end result is your dissolution and dissipation through the lower orifices of the human body at the time of death. And you will become a corpse and rot in the ground. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with a person choosing that path of disintegration because maybe they're done. Like many of these people that think they live in a hell realm, they're ready to give up. They're done with it. They're ready to check out. They don't want any more living. They don't want any more great life. They don't want to wake up in the morning and be inspired and motivated from the visions of Dreamland. They don't want to take a deep breath and think and feel and love and gather up useful resources for people to enjoy and then distribute those useful resources among their family, friends, and community. They're not interested in that. They're interested in death and destruction and wallowing in the gutter, right? And then being flushed down the toilet of the cosmos. And again, they have their reward. They'll get exactly what they want. And so I would remind you, Wayfarer, dear listener, to choose your path well, right? You don't have to follow them down into the darkness. You don't have to follow me up into the light. But maybe you can find something that motivates and inspires you to reflect more deeply on what spirituality means in your life, right? Like I had a wonderful little summary here of what Frank Monday does on the channel. It says, I'm an Italian godfather, burger food reviewer, spiritual luminous, positive translucent groundbreaking Chinese prince, showing all people how to break down acidity within the human spiritual soul. Yeah, that's interesting, Dave. I'm not familiar with you, Dave. I haven't seen you pass by before, but you've got a dual lover's photo, so I'm assuming you're probably a newlywed. You look pretty young, and you've got a gal there with you. I'm assuming that's a gal, right? A real woman. And it looks like you're either married or newly married, or at least in a relationship of some kind. And I can appreciate that, man. It looks like you guys are engaged in some bon vivant, joie de vivre, right? Some good living. And there's nothing wrong with that, man. You keep on being your best self, brother. And thank you for stopping by. And I would remind you to hit the old button, and that'll help keep. No, nobody hit it. I'm the only one that's hit the button so far, guys. So if you guys, if you do have an account and you are able to hit the thumb button, I would invite you to do that now. I do. I really do. I invite you to do that because they say it helps out the channel, and I think that people might be right about that, right? You know what else helps out the channel is keeping the motivation and jelly and Frank Monday's donut, and you can do that by getting over to Buy Me a Coffee and buying me a coffee because I'm about to make myself a nice cup of mud right here, and those Colombian Supremo, man, that stuff ain't cheap. It's $20 a kilo, and I go through about a kilo a month. So we got to keep that coffee fund going, guys. Really, really helps out the channel. Okay, let me get back into it. I'm in it to win it. I am going to make that cup of coffee, but before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and drop the invite link. And if anybody's out there in Happy Land, they want to stop by and say hello and have a little pleasant conversation and fellowship here with Frank Bunda, or even if you want to get in a fight and, if you want to talk shit, and call me an asshole and a cockroach like Queen Stephanie of Team Evil likes to do, right? Then have at it. You guys can jump in there. There's the link. It's studiorestream.io/some funny collection of numbers and letters, right? That is the alphanumeric code to get on the show, guys. And I got that back door open to the studio backstage, and I'm willing to hash it out with the best of you, the best and the worst, right? Because like the Tao is like low-lying ground. It accepts all rivers and all streams, and that's why it's known as the queen and mother of the 10,000 things, because all things arise from it, and it humbles itself before others. I sometimes have trouble humbling myself before endless human opinion, but I do try my best, guys. The hills behind Arkham, Massachusetts, are full of strange, witchy magic, something perhaps which the old wizard Edmund Carter called down from the stars and up from the crypts of Nether Earth when he fled there in Salem in 1692. As soon as Randolph Carter was back among them, he knew that he was close to one of the gates, which only a few audacious, abhorred, and alien-souled men have blasted through the Titan walls betwixt the world and the outside absolute. Here he felt on this day of the year he could carry out, with success, the message he had deciphered months before from the arabesques of that tarnished and incredibly ancient silver key. He knew now how it must be rotated, how it must be held up to the setting sun, and what syllables of ceremony must be intoned into the void at the ninth and last turning. In a spot as close to a dark polarity and induced gate as this, it could not fail in its primary function. Certainly, he would rest that night in the lost boyhood for which he had never ceased to mourn. Yeah, it's really good poetry right there, man. Good magic. I'm double checking to see if everything's going good, guys. Yeah, it looks good. Our connection's still stable. I'm gonna go ahead and throw the cosmology and spirituality question back up on the board and give you a few moments to contemplate what helps you define your spirituality. Is it various statues and books and scrolls and accoutrements of the wizard? Do you have a bell on your altar that reminds you of timing and the frequency, the connection of the frequency beyond this realm? Is it a little wooden fish that you hit on in order to generate a good vibratorial frequency and let your energy align with a higher purpose? What are the things? Are they mantras and mudras and sutras that you chant in your free time, right? Holy art thou, Lord of the universe, the vast and the mighty one, Adonai, creator of heaven and earth, Elohim, maker of all things visible and invisible, Agela, master of both the light and the darkness, Eheye, he who was, is, and always shall be, Yod He Vav He Ani Ahava. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who have trespassed against us. Our Father, who art in heaven, all hail the Father Dagon. All hail the Mother Hydra. Cthulhu has risen and the stars have aligned. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil, dear Lord. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen. Holy art thou, Ra, in thy rising, even unto thee who art Ra in thy strength, who travellest over the heavens at the uprising of the sun. Tahuti standeth in his splendour at the prow, and Rahor abideth at the helm. Hail unto thee from the abodes of Dreamland. Remember, O neophyte, goodness alone is power, silence is strength, will regaineth omnipotence, and love lieth at the foundation. Give me a moment to brew up some mud, guys. Go ahead and take a moment to contemplate. Deep breath in. Hold for 3, 2, 1, and relax. All right, guys, I'm just trying to make myself a quick cup of mud here. Takes a moment. I gotta boil the water, grind the beans, clean the filter, and then drip out the coffee, drip by drip. I hope you're taking a moment to contemplate and consider what are the aspects of your life and what you've learned in the world that help you define your spirituality. Yeah, Dave, that's a fact. It is Saturday morning in Twilight Zone Old Peking, here far behind the bamboo firewall. Frank Monday coming at you once again like Finnegan. So if you've got a yin to expand your kin, then let's get zen with Frank Monday. If you haven't already, you might take this opportunity to check me out on buymeacoffee.com as I brew up a beautiful, wonderful, hot, strong cup of the black magic. You might get over there and say, hey, Frank Monday, why don't you have a coffee on me one time, right? A little something in the tip jar helps put the pep in the step, the jelly in the donut, and the lead in my pencil. And with that said, I'll keep my nose to the grindstone, rolling with the punches to bring you the best of the celestial kingdom. All right, and we are back once again, guys. I got that coffee brewed up. Wow, it really looks nice over there. I have, I received a wonderful gift from the heart from Hugo out here in Happy Land. He popped over to buy me a coffee, and he left a little something in the tip jar. And what a thing. What a beautiful, wonderful thing. And so I went out, I took that immediately and bought myself a fresh bag of, what did I get here? I got something a little different this time. I got the Maker's Mark from Sam's Club. I got, what is this called? I can't see the front of the package. Let me open it up a little bit. What have we got here? Whole bean coffee espresso blend. This is a golden medal winner, and it looks like it might be a locally sourced brand. Wow, that's interesting. Sam's Club usually has some pretty good coffee though, so it's a Member's Mark certified, and as a result, it turned out to be pretty good. An espresso blend. I'm not big on an espresso blend. That's usually a little bit too strong for me. I prefer the Colombian Supremo, as many of you may know. But the Colombian Supremo is 50% more expensive than this one. And so I thought, well, if it's going to be this hard of a struggle to get a little coffee fund on YouTube, then I better kind of back off on the quality of the coffee maybe and drink a little bit less expensive coffee. But I have great faith and confidence that some of you might get over there and check out that old link, and I might be able to get myself some of that wonderful Colombian Supremo in the future. Damn, nice cup of mud is... Ain't nothing wrong with a nice hot cup of mud, guys. I can really appreciate that. Certainly puts the lead in my pencil. I don't know about y'all. Are you guys coffee drinkers? Yeah, so we're contemplating right now on what it means for you as an individual, like your spirituality. What is it? How do you define it? I define it as a pretty simple, straightforward, easy process, right? We're born into this world between heaven and earth, and we may have a timeless celestial homeland that we come from. There's a great and almighty creator God above us. Some call him Jehovah. Some represent it, some understand it through the Trinity, right? The Father, the Mother, and the Divine Child, which is Christ Jesus, who came into the world and put an end to the necessity for getting into heaven of being anything other than just humbling yourself before the Lord. And that's one pathway, and there are many pathways. And that's a part of my pathway but it's not just something you think, it's something you feel, it's something you do in your day to day, right? Are you living a life that brings you closer to Christ, or are you living a life that makes you wander farther out into darkness? And I guess that's up to each and every individual how they define that, and it's only between them and the Lord, right? But I think that it can be important sometimes to bring forward a new spiritual vision, a new universal morality, yeah, as I like to call it. And with that new universal morality, I think that Rudolf Steiner's teachings come into play. He developed a thing called anthroposophy, which was loosely kind of based on Hindu teachings and mystic, esoteric, Rosicrucian teachings of Christianity, in fact, right? And one of my mainstays has been the Hermetic Brotherhood of the Golden Dawn. I'm not sure if you guys are all familiar with that or not, but those were basically like 19th century mystics, 18th, 19th, and even early 20th century mystics who brought forward a various what would we call it? A collection, a menagerie of methods. And I realized that through all these various methods, there is the one true method, which is the fourfold breath. So you inhale on 4, inhale 3, 2, 1, then you hold your breath for 4 seconds, hold 3, 2, 1, then you exhale for 4 seconds, out, right, out, 3, 2, 1, and then you hold again after the exhale for another 4 seconds, and you repeat this 4 times for a total of 16 repetitions, right? And 16 times 4 is 64. That brings you to completion of the Bagua octahedron. So in the Bagua octahedron, there's 8 times 8. There's 8 great manifestations permeating through 8 manifest dimensions. And I think that's a somehow valuable method, just calming the mind and letting the turbulent, dark energy settle down, right? The gross energies settle and the subtle energies rise into the mind palace. Hey, we've got a visitor out here in Happy Land. It says that Black Jesus has joined the stream. Let me see if I can find the button here to bring them on. Black Jesus, I hope you're doing well. Let me double check. Yeah, that does in fact look like a Black Jesus, guys. So yeah, with no further ado, let's get a little bit of a preempt here for Black Jesus. Guys, Black Jesus is coming on, and you know how I like my magic. I like my magic black, like I like my coffee and my women, right? So definitely, if this turns into an exciting transmission, which it's, you never know what's going to happen, when you let a fellow like Black Jesus on. But we'll give a nice round of applause, and everybody check me out at buymeacoffee.com/Frank Monday. With no further ado, Black Jesus, is that you? How are you? Let me see. Where's the goddamn button? I'm operating from a new platform here, guys. I'm using Restream because I ran out of hours on StreamYard, and because I only have the free account. You don't want to invest too much money into a hobby that doesn't pay back much. So, Jesus, how does this work? Okay, I guess I got to click that button. And does that do it? Yes, that in fact has done it. Black Jesus, welcome. Greetings and salutations, Matt, my man.
Yo, what's up, my man?
Yo, what's happening, brother? How you doing out there in Black Jesus land?
Yo, I be turning watermelons into wine. What you up to tonight?
Yeah, I'm just chilling like a villain here in old Peking. Looks like Ryan. Is that Ryan or Dave? No, that's Dave. I can't read. Um, I'm using a new platform here, Restream. I haven't used it a lot, so I'm trying to familiarize myself with all of the buttons. But it looks like he went over to buy me a coffee and bought old Frank Monday a coffee. Thanks for that, Dave. Man, that really puts the lead in my pencil. And Black Jesus, that may be due to your benevolent presence here on the channel because folks do enjoy good wine. And if you can turn watermelons into wine, I mean, that's really something. That really is.
Yo, my nigga. I work miracles. I can turn a pencil into fried chicken.
Yeah. Not to play into the stereotype too much. It says my mic is muted. Okay. I think it's
No
unmuted.
stereotyping, my
Right, right.
man. You
No, not.
my nigga. You be my nigga.
Oh, okay. Easy with that. And
You be
I
my
feel,
nigga.
I feel you, Black Jesus. Um, do you have a message for all of the listeners at home on how, because we're talking about today, well, I'm talking about, I'd like to invite you, Black Jesus, to talk about as well, um, how you cultivate your spirituality in your life. And, maybe something you'd like to share with the dear listeners at home, because you are dear listeners and they're all interested in the future and they're interested in spiritual cultivation, and Black Jesus may be a way for them to get there.
Oh shit. Well, I be the redeemer. I be the redeemer, so you don't get to know Father except through me, my nigga. You got to come to the house of the Father be through me. You'll understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't know. I've kind of deviated away from the idea in my own personal life of a religious based practice per se. I'm more interested in studying various scriptures and then trying to kind of piece it together through like
Yeah,
real life experiences. I can't. It's not convenient for me to make it to the house of the
that
of Black Jesus. It's
that be goofy sounding.
Yeah, it's
You
a bit
need
of
a
a
personal redeemer. You need yo need a savior.
it's a bit of a flight to get out there to like and I don't know if I do I need a visa to get into Canada? Is that something that's
Yeah,
required of an American?
I'm in America, my brother.
Yeah.
Yo bitch ass can't get to heaven without no black Jesus. That's
Okay.
the only way. That's the way.
Well, it's one way I would imagine, right?
The
For
only
folks that
way.
worship the Black Jesus.
There be only one way to heaven, to the
Now,
Father, is through me. You
is that a
see
black
my
is that a black
no,
heaven? If
it's a
I
Jesus. It's a Jesus thing.
Jesus, okay.
It's a Jesus thing. You see my hair of wool. It's in the Bible that I was born with hair of wool. No white man have hair like this.
A lot of white dudes
You
do.
see?
That's called a Jewfro. Lots of Jews have Jewfros.
No, they not be like black wool like my hair. I got hair black like wool.
Yeah.
No white
Well,
man speak like this and preach. I'm the real Jesus. I'm the real King. The
maybe
crown.
maybe Black Jesus was a descendant of the Black Goat of the Woods with 1,000 young, Shub-Niggurath.
What you say about nigger what? Shove nigger off.
Yeah, it's the Black Goat of the Woods with 1,000 young. It's a ancient pagan
Who you
deity
calling nigger?
that
Hood rat.
no,
What you be talking about?
do that. I didn't do that. No, not me, man.
You called me nigger?
No, I
Listen,
didn't.
you Jewish bitch, you don't be calling me no nigger. Um, I'm Black Jesus.
Okay. So Black Jesus, the main upshot is like, what through now, do you have the same story as like regular Jesus, like Jesus of Nazareth?
No. Shit, no. I'm from Ethiopia, my brother. I ain't from where that imposter be coming from. That Jewish Jesus. That he wasn't cool like I am. I'm the hood Jesus.
Oh, okay. So is there a difference like in your guys' timeline? Did it all play out the same way in
I'm the
Ethiopia?
original, my brother.
But did
I'm
it
the
play out?
original. I'm from Africa.
Are there any
Where you
books
think
written
all
about
this
you?
started? All the books be written about me. What you talking about, boy?
I'm talking about Jesus of Nazareth has a different
I'm
story
the
than Black
I'm the
Jesus.
real Jesus,
I
bitch.
don't I don't remember reading about a Black Jesus in the Bible.
I be the real Jesus. That's the imposter you be talking about on these shit shows, panelverse. I be the real. I'm the real deal, boy.
Okay. Well, there's a guy in the chat. His name's Dave. He says that you are, in fact, the one and only Queen Stephen of the Sanity Machine, and that you're
Uh,
trolling me.
I don't know who you
That you're
mean, boy. I
trolling
get
me.
all the bitches. I'm not King Stephen. I am Black Jesus. I got a crown. I respect that brother's crown. I respect his style and his swag and his charm. Obviously, he's
Okay.
the man where he's from. But listen, you coming at me like a bitch boy Jew. I'm the real Jesus. I'm Black Jesus. The Jewish one was the imposter.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true or not.
That be true.
Really? I
Respect.
don't know. No.
I got facts. I got facts, boy. I
So
got facts.
did Black
And I
Jesus
got
speak?
bitches. Do you
Do
have
you,
any
do,
bitches? Go
do you
ahead.
speak? Do you speak Hebrew, Black
Go
Jesus?
ahead, my nigga. I don't speak Hebrew.
You speak
Hebrew.
Ethiopian?
I be from Ethiopia, but I be there thousands of years ago.
So
We didn't have any Hebrews back then.
what was the tradition?
Ethiopia?
What did you guys like? What language? Aramaic?
No, no, no. What the Arab? We weren't sand niggers. What you be talking about, boy?
Okay.
You think I'm just a sand nigger?
I don't know. I'm
What the
trying to figure.
fuck,
I'm
dude?
trying to figure it out. I'm not familiar with
Bro,
Ethiopia.
what you talking about, brother? Aramaic. I don't speak no fucking sand nigger camel rider language. I be Black Jesus. We communicated telepathically back then. You never look at our history. You don't look into the history of the blacks. We invented everything. We communicated in different languages telepathically back then.
Okay. Wow. That's convenient, right?
We could teleport fucking pyramids and shit. We was kings.
This
You
homie
think
says
we
you ain't.
spoke some Arab
This
language?
homie says you ain't black. That you're just wearing black
Oh,
face. He
I'm
says
black.
you're
I'm
white
black.
AF. White
I'm
as
black as
fuck.
fuck. I'm
I
black as
don't
fuck.
know.
That who be
I'm
that in your who's the ass kissing white idiot in your chat room? Who's the
I'm starting.
cracker?
I'm starting to get a little suspicious that you
Who's
might
the
be.
cracker in there?
You know.
Listen,
Well,
I fucked Aunt Jemima and every black chick you ever done seen.
wow, that's lovely.
Yeah,
Do you are you
yeah.
familiar with the person that he
You,
mentioned with King
who?
Stephen? Stephen, you know
No,
Stephen of the
I know the
Ascension
brother.
machine.
I don't know him personally, but why you be obsessed with King Stephen? You worship his ass or something? You
No, I was just
kissing his
wondering.
feet? Why do you keep
Maybe
bringing up King Stephen? What's wrong with you, Frank? You
I
sound
well
like a bitch. What's
I
wrong with
don't
you, boy?
I don't typically host folks that
You
have
got
so
to
many
stand on your own. Don't put him on a
ad
pedestal like this.
ad hominem
You
attacks, and I just
you be
wondered maybe.
obsessed with King Stephen. You keep bringing him up.
All right, maybe. Well, I heard he makes
Is
a
that
really good
he?
co-host of
He be
various
your idol
panel.
or
Well, yeah,
something?
he makes a good
You
co-host
got
of
to work with me here, boy.
panel verse
Yeah, he's a
shows, right?
co-host at Jack Talcott's show. He,
Yeah, yeah. I thought
yeah,
maybe if he wasn't busy, he could head over and host here because I don't
but
know if
you got
Black
to stop
Jesus is
letting him,
exactly what I want to
boy.
present to the people
Cracker, Cracker,
out in
you got to
YouTube.
stop, Cracker. You got to stop letting him. You got to stop. You got to stop. He be living rent free in your head, boy. You got to get over the obsession with King Stephen over
Well,
here.
I like to house the
You
homeless.
talk about him all the
He
time.
doesn't have a place to live and he needs to live rent free in my head.
Oh,
Then I
he's
mean,
got a place to
he
live.
could pay rent. He could
He's
go
a
to buy me a
king.
coffee and
He's
pay
got a
rent.
crown like mine. He doesn't need to buy you a coffee. Why are you begging for shekels on here? You're looking like a Jew, just begging for these shekels. What's wrong
Isn't
with
that
you?
I'm just living into your stereotype, right? Don't Jews? Isn't that what
Wait,
they
are you
do?
a Jew? Are you
They
you
just
be Jewish?
they beg for shekels.
Wait, you be a Jaime Jewish miser begging for
Ani
shekels?
Ani Yahava. That's right.
Oy vey. You be a bitch boy Jew desperate for shekels on YouTube?
I'm only a third Jew.
How much
Ashkenazi.
money you earn in a year, boy? How much do you get?
I don't get any money. I do everything out of love, right? I live without fear.
You get a salary. I heard you
Uh,
was teaching little squint-eyed children in China.
yeah, if you take it into that realm, then I will have to cut it because I'm not gonna. That's
Cut what? What are you in China?
just
You be in China?
cut the conversation. Yeah, yeah, that's
Cut the
apparent. But
conversation.
right, yeah,
What, are you
I'm not
gonna
gonna.
bitch out of this? Is that what you
Yeah,
do, Frank?
I'm gonna roach out if
Oh,
you talk shit
oh,
about my homies over here.
what homies? What you be talking
I
about?
slant out homies, motherfucker. Pan
You
face zipper
slant eye.
heads. Yeah, don't be
Hey,
fucking with don't be fucking
did
with
you
the zipper.
marry one of them? Who did you marry?
Um, Mary Magdalene,
That's an easy question, boy.
wasn't she
Why
the
you
wife?
hesitating?
Wasn't
Why
she the
you be
wife of
hesitating?
Christ?
Why you be hesitating? You didn't marry no Mary Magdalene. You married a Ling Ling.
Dave knows who you are, bro. He says that you're on Z and
You be
Knox
obsessed
channel
with King
all the
Stephen.
time.
Did
No, the
you be
chatter here,
obsessed with King Stephen?
the
Did you marry a
chatter,
Ling Ling?
the
Did you
chatter
marry a
here.
Ching Chong? Did you marry a Ching Chong?
Why are you interested in my wife? What about your wife? Don't you
Let
have a
me see your
girlfriend?
wife. I want to see your wife, Frank. You really got a wife? Put her on here. I want to see your wife.
No, I'm just some solo dude hanging out in an apartment, chilling,
Put your wife on here. I want to talk to
chilling
her.
like a villain. Yeah, I
She'd
bet.
love to meet Black Jesus.
Yeah, so
She'd be
Black Jesus,
loving me.
how would you recommend our spiritual cultivation in the prime
She'd be
material
loving
plane?
me and my black anaconda, my black mamba.
Spiritual cultivation in the prime material plane, Black Jesus. What do you
I'd be
suggest
full of the spirit.
that your descendants, how do they engage with you directly?
Which way you be eating corn on the cob, Frank Monday? I don't believe that you got a wife.
I don't eat
I
my
think
corn on a cob. I slice it off the cob and eat it with a little butter.
what you be slicing it with.
Buttered sausage. Let's talk about buttered sausage. Okay, what is it? What's it doing? Why is it in my face? Get it out of here. I don't like buttered sausage.
What you be talking about? Buttered sausage? You at a gay bar? Or what you be doing?
Yeah, I'm hanging
What you
out
be
at
talking?
the Brass Lantern. Have you ever been to the Brass Lantern or the Copper Kettle in San
I
Diego?
don't know. I don't know what you're talking about, boy.
It's where the dudes all hang out in leather chaps, assless chaps. It's a gay
Is
bar.
that where you be from? You be from the Brass Lantern? Is that what you said?
Yeah, you should look it up. The Copper Kettle. There's
Oh,
two of them. There's one in
shit.
there's one in
I
Santee and there's one in North Park. and you can hang out there
Shit.
in assless
Black
chaps.
Black Jesus don't accept no faggots.
Black Jesus
What are you
doesn't have a
talking
pair
about?
of. You don't have a pair of assless chaps, Black Jesus, with a
No,
butt plug,
boy.
with a
No.
with a butt plug and
I
a ball
wear
gag.
no, boy.
I think you're lying.
I wear brother, I'm not a degenerate. I wear the robes, I wear the gold and the purple.
Well,
I
you're
don't wear
selling.
none of that shit.
Yeah, you're selling yourself short, man. There's a whole life to be lived
No.
out there.
That's
That
degenerate, Frank.
that a lot of them would open you. They would welcome you with open arms, my friend.
Frank, did you open up your butthole to some
What
faggots in San Diego?
What do
Is
you
that
think
what you
about
did?
Jack? What do you think about
Is that
Jack?
what you did?
Is Jack's love gay or is it platonic?
Are you gay for Jack? I think it's gay. What you
You think it's
think,
gay?
boy? What you think?
It seems a little gay, but he never touches on the subject.
He never touches your what?
He never touches on the subject of sexuality. He likes to keep
Oh,
his transmission platonic, strictly
I thought you say he never touched your
platonic.
pee-pee. You want him
No, he
touch
hasn't.
your
No,
pee-pee.
he
He
hasn't.
never touched you.
No, not in a
Who's
caressing,
this Dave
caring
dork in the
way
chat room?
like you
Is this
have.
your faggot buddy? What's this guy in the chat? This cracker.
I
Cracker
think
ass. Yeah.
he may have tuned in for a spiritual redemption with Black Jesus. You never know. He might be one
He
of your
be
friends.
your only viewer? He be the only one viewing you? You only got one watching. One whole person in the entire world.
That's
watching
good. That's
Frank.
good. I don't mind being
One.
alone. Better to be alone than to be in bad company.
Frank, you ever self-reflect and wonder why nobody watch your cracker Jew ass? Why nobody watch you over here? What's wrong? Why don't you get an
because
audience?
they don't like Jews? Anti-Semitism, perhaps?
Why don't you get an anti-Semitism? Are you going to run with that? You're going to run with the Jew card? Are you
don't
running with
realize
that?
how you're the one guiding the conversation in a direction of
Hey,
darkness that you
hey,
enjoy.
I'm not guiding. You're the show
I'm
boy.
trying to give you every
Brother.
form of opportunity to talk about something of value.
Brother,
right?
let's talk spiritual matters here.
You're representing
Stop
a
getting
character.
degenerate talking about faggots. I don't want to hear about
Black
these fag
Jesus.
places.
No.
I don't want to talk about these fag places you go to, San Diego. Let's talk about watermelon, the power of fruit. Did you know that the sugars in watermelon be part of something that connect you with the Holy Spirit if you're a fruitarian?
Okay, explain.
You got to be a fruitarian, brother. You got to be strict with your diet. You be eating swine and shit, don't you? I think you eat pork and you be eating McDonald's on these fucking videos where it's of the devil. You're eating the devil's food.
Well, that's beef. I don't think that the beef is the beef is known by the Hindu to be like a godlike creature, they believe.
Oh, the Hindu do not eat the cow. They don't eat beef. They don't.
Well, they worship
don't fill
it,
their mouth
and
with it the way you do.
Yeah, I like beef. I like a good beef burger. I'm not big on swine. A little bacon on my burger.
You fill your mouth with beef.
Yeah, a little
you
bacon
said
on
that
my
it was
burger.
human meat. You said you'd eat it if it was human meat, not video.
No,
your McDonald's, your McDonald's Chinese McDonald's review.
No, I've never said that.
You'd be talking about how if it's human meat, it's still so good, you love it.
No, I've never said that.
Yeah,
no,
you'd be saying that, brother.
Show me the clip. Bring the receipts.
Brother,
I've never said that. I would never engage in cannibalism.
Brother, you said that the Big Mac was like a loaded squirting in your mouth.
No, you don't have to. You don't have to represent me erroneously in order to try to elevate
on your video.
yourself.
Watch your own video.
No,
I played it here. You're a liar, brother.
Do it. Play it,
brother.
Why are you?
Brother,
why are you
I
playing
played it
my
already.
Videos? Why would you?
You said
do
it was
that?
like a load in your
Why
mouth.
Would
The Big Mac sauce.
Video. That is so gay. Why do you degenerate?
That's not gay. I'm showing what you are,
That's
brother.
The only way you can go. You can.
I got more viewers playing your videos than you do.
That's fine. That's
more
fine.
Ad
hominem attacks. Degenerate
not ad
behavior.
hominem. I'm showing what you did. That's what you said.
All right,
You
how
said it
about
was like a
this?
load in
If
your mouth when you
if you
bit
want to
into a
come
Big Mac.
if you want
That's
to
what you
come
said.
back as your genuine self, I invite
Brother,
it. If not,
you got to get honest, brother. You got
yeah,
to get honest.
I I'd rather be alone than be in bad company. So see you later, Black Jesus. Well, there you go, guys. Once again, like Finnegan, the roach is showing up and attempting to cause trouble. Um, Good magic nonetheless, though. I do try to like to go in some direction that's worthwhile instead of just pure degeneracy. Yeah, I know, whatever, Black Jesus. That's fine. I can see the private chat that popped up. So good, man. Good to see you, man. I hope you have a great day nonetheless. Keep on keeping on doing your thing. Um, and maybe you'll find your salvation somewhere. Maybe Jack Black Jesus needs another crucifixion to bring him out of his nihilism and self deceit. But it's not necessarily something I can offer or help with. That's not my mission here in my little bit of free time here to be online with you guys. Is just to chill and hang out and enjoy some. Yeah, he's a major troll. Okay, Frank kicked the guy off. He's a major troll. Yeah, um I can only tolerate. I'm trying to pop this up. Yeah, I can only endure and tolerate so many constant attacks and vilifications and deceit and bullshit before I feel like enough's enough. But once again, I always like to keep the option out there for folks to stop by and say hello. Um, Definitely, the door is open to folks that enjoy conversation and interaction in a somewhat polite and productive manner. When it's just um, a constant low level transmission that doesn't really like it just starts to add darkness and like ickiness. That's the word I guess I would choose. It's kind of like you open the door and you get like this influx of putrid noxious gas, and there's a being that's just mired in filth and disease, and they kind of, I was going to say stumble in, but not even a stumbling, they ooze in and slide in, right, like a toilet that overflowed. Yeah. And so they're just kind of oozing and sliding in, and they're surrounded by shit flies and vectors and toilet demons. And you're like, oh, hey, what's going on? Come on in. And you let them in for a second, but how long can you stay in that type of noxious presence, right? You can only endure a certain amount of it. And you give them every opportunity to step out of the filth and step out of their deceit. And they're just like, no, 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 I refuse to. They came in with a mission, which is discord and disharmony and disruption. Those are his catchwords, his watchwords for his channel, right? I want to interfere with what other people are doing and bring some darkness and some sewage and some low level vibration. And you have to allow it for a second, but then you have to move on because like I said, it's better to be alone than to be in bad company, because at least when you're alone, you can kind of dictate your own spiritual cultivation without interference. And so, in order to cleanse the room, guys, I'll do a quick adoration of Abraxas. Say it with me if you know the words. Holy art thou, Lord of the universe, the vast and the mighty one, creator of heaven and earth, maker of all things visible and invisible, master of both the light and the darkness, he who was, is, and shall be, Yahweh. Send one of your divine, or more before of them, right? Your divine spiritual agents, our holy guardian angel, Raphael, Gabriel, Michael, and Uriel, to destroy our spiritual obstacles and debilitate any evil influence. This order is given by the highest sovereignty. Teach us those secret things which we must know for the completion of the great work which is before all things, especially the emancipation of the wizard's will and creation of man by himself. That is to say, the complete and total conquest of faculties and future. All of these things we ask in the name of the Father God, the Mother Spirit, and the Divine Child. So it is commanded and confirmed. So mote it be. Amen. Hail unto thee who art Ra in thy rising, even unto thee who art Ra in thy strength, who travellest over the heavens at the uprising of the sun. Tahuti standeth in his splendor at the prow, and Ra Horkoit abideth at the helm. Hail unto thee from the abodes of Dreamland. All right, guys, that's about cleanse the palate there. I'm going to throw up the old buy me a coffee. Thank you for that. Dave said that he stopped by the coffee page and put a little something in the tip jar. I'm going to throw on some music. I want you all to take a deep breath and hold it for 3, 2, 1, and then relax. And I will be back in a minute. I got to check a couple of things. People are up and at it. They're getting busy, and they're asking for things. So I've got to humble myself and fulfill a couple of requests from my children's. And I think I got a fucking Quai-D guy, like a express delivery guy, knocking at the door. So give me about 2 to 3 minutes, and I'll be right back. Deep breath. Hold for 3, 2, 1, and relax. All right, all right, all right. Welcome back, everyone. Frank Monday coming at you once again, like Finnegan from the Abodes of Dreamland. I hope you are doing well this evening, Wayfarer. I'd like to cleanse the palate a bit from that last guest to the transmission. I do believe I have it here, so with no further ado, please join me in the Invocation of Thoth by Israel Regardi, brought forward from the Hermetic Brotherhood of Luxor. Here it goes. Procol o procol este profane, balasti umpala. In the name of the mighty and terrible one, I proclaim that I have banished the shells unto their habitation. I invoke Tahuti, the Lord of wisdom and utterance, the God that cometh forth from the veil. O thou, majesty of the Godhead, wisdom crowned Tahuti, Lord of the gates of the universe, thee I invoke. O thou of the ibis head, thee I invoke. Thou who wieldest the wand of double power, thee I invoke. Thou who bearest in thy left hand the rose and cross of light and life, thee I invoke. Thou whose head is as an emerald, and thy nemesis as the night blue sky, thee I invoke. Thou whose skin is a flaming orange, as though it burned in a furnace, thee I invoke. Behold, I am yesterday, today, and the brother of tomorrow. I am born again and again. Mine is the unseen force whereof the gods are sprung, which is as life unto the dwellers in the watchtowers of the universe. I am the charioteer of the east, lord of the past and the future. I see by my own inward light, Lord of resurrection, who cometh forth from the dust, and my birth is from the house of death. O ye two divine hawks upon your pinnacles, who keep watch over the universe, ye who company the buyer to the house of rest, who pilot the ship of Ra, ever advancing onwards the heights of heaven, Lord of the shrine which standeth in the center of the earth, behold, he is me, and I am in him. Mine is the radiance wherein Ptah floateth over the firmament. I travel upon high. I tread upon the firmament of Nu. I raise a flashing flame with the lightning of mine eye, ever rushing on in the splendor of the daily glorified Ra, giving my life to the dwellers of earth. If I say, come up upon the mountain, the celestial waters flow at my command. For I am Ra incarnate, Kephara created in the flesh. I am the idol of my father Timu, lord of the city of the sun. The God who commands in my mouth, the God of wisdom is in my heart. My tongue is the sanctuary of truth, and a God sitteth upon my lips. My word is accomplished every day, and the desire of my heart realizes itself as that of Ptah when he created his works. I am eternal, therefore all things are as my designs. Therefore, do thou come forth unto me from thine abode in the silence, unutterable wisdom, all light and all power. Thoth, Hermes, Mercury, Odin, Lü Dombing, by whatever name I call thee, thou art still nameless to eternity. Come thou forth, I say, and aid and guard me in the work of art. Thou star of the east that didst conduct the Magi, thou art the same all present in heaven and in hell. Thou that vibratest between the light and the darkness, rising, descending, changing ever, yet ever the same. The sun is thy father, the moon thy mother, the moon. The wind hath borne thee in its bosom, and earth hath ever nourished the changeless Godhead of thy youth. Come thou forth, I say, come thou forth, and make every spirit of the firmament and of the aether, upon the earth and under the earth, on dry land and in the water, of whirling air and rushing fire, and every spell and scourge of God of the Vast One may be obedient unto me. So it is commanded and confirmed. So mote it be. Amen. All right, good magic, man. Had to cleanse the palate a little bit of that last little nefarious internet tourist. But you know, what are you gonna do? That's sometimes you get a little visitor from Happy Land and you never know what's going on. So that is what it is, right? It ain't no thing but a chicken wing, baby. Just keep rolling with the punches. I hope y'all good looking sex people are doing well out in Happy Land. Do you remember on the 7th of October 1928, Randolph Carter got out of his car with the key in his pocket, walking uphill deeper and deeper into the shadowy core of that brooding, haunted countryside of winding road, vine-grown stone wall, black woodland, gnarled, neglected orchard, gaping windowed, deserted farmhouse, and nameless ruin. At the sunset hour, when the distant spires of Kingsport gleamed in the ruddy blaze, he took out the key and made the needed turnings and intonations. Only later did he realize how soon the ritual had taken effect. Then, in the deepening twilight, he had heard a voice out of the past. It was old Benijah Corey, his great uncle's hired man. Had not old Benijah been dead for 30 years? 30 years before when? But what was time? Where had he been? Why was it strange that Benijah should be calling him on this 7th of October, 1883? Was he not out later than Aunt Martha had told him to stay? What was this key in his blouse pocket? Where had his little telescope given him by his father on his 9th birthday 2 months before? Where was it? Had he found it in the attic at home? Would it unlock the mystic pylon, which his sharp eye had traced amidst the jagged rocks at the back of that inner cave behind the snake den on the hill? That was the place they always occupied with old Edmund Carter, the wizard. People wouldn't go there, and nobody but him had ever noticed or squirmed through the root-choked fissure to that great black inner chamber with the pylon. Whose hands had carved that hint of a pylon out of the living rock? Old Wizard Edmunds, or others that he had conjured up and commanded? That evening, little Randolph ate supper with Uncle Chris and Aunt Martha in the old gambreled roofed farmhouse. Next morning, he was up early and out through the twisted-bowed apple orchard to the upper timber lot where the mouth of the snake den lurked, and black and forbidding amongst grotesque, overnourished oaks. A nameless expectancy was upon him, and he did not even notice the loss of his handkerchief as he fumbled in his blouse pocket to see if the queer silver key was safe. He crawled through the dark orifice with tense, adventurous assurance, lighting his way with matches taken from the sitting room. In another moment, he had wriggled through the root-choked fissure at the farther end and was in the vast, unknown inner grotto, whose ultimate rock wall seemed half like a monstrous and consciously shaped pylon. Before that dark, dripping wall, he stood silent and awestruck, lighting one match after another as he gazed. Was that stony bulge above the keystone of the imagined arch really a gigantic sculpted hand? Then he drew forth the silver key and made motions and intonations whose source he could only dimly remember. Was anything forgotten? He knew only that he wished to cross the barrier of the untrammeled land of his dreams and the gulfs where all dimensions dissolve into the absolute. Thank you for joining me on this brief adventure into Dreamland, dear Wayfarer. I hope you're doing well, and I hope your wanderings have taken you to a place where you feel empowered and enlightened and elevated above the rough and tumble world. Was it not the great Stoic Marcus Aurelius who warned us that, hey, each and every day you're going to meet with different kinds of people, and they're going to bring forward different kinds of things, and just keep rolling with the punches. And thank you to Dave for joining the channel today. Good to see you, amigo. I appreciate you stopping by and saying hello. And thank you for that contribution over at buymeacoffee.com/Frank Monday. That's really generous of you, man. I can really appreciate that. That puts the lead in my pencil. You guys know all that happy horse shit. I'm going to finish off with the invocation of total integration before I call it a day. And maybe I'll come back a little bit later if anybody else is around and would like to have a polite conversation in the spirit of fellowship and in bringing forward spiritual cultivation. Heaven and earth are the spontaneous manifestations of the subtle, wondrous universal law. As the original oneness expresses itself, gross and subtle energies become distinctly divided. Our bodily caves are brightly illuminated by the mysterious light from the three sources, our three Dantian, bridge points leading to immortality. The powerful spirits of the eight directions can join our being with the true origin of life. By the absolute power of the divine Ling Bao in the highest ninth heaven, send the positive energies of Qian Luo, Dana, Dunkan, and Tai Xuan to destroy our spiritual obstacles and debilitate any evil influence. This order is given by the highest sovereignty. It is a jade oracle from the subtle origin. I invoke with strong sincerity to drive away the demons and evils and lengthen my healthy years. The attained spirits respond. The evil demon king, Mo Wang, is chained to stand as our guardian servant. The powerful atmosphere has been generated, dispersing all negativity. The chi of Tao is everlasting. So it is commanded and confirmed. So mote it be. Amen. Remember, O neophyte, goodness alone is power, silence is strength. Will regaineth omnipotence, and love lieth at the foundation, because love is the law, love under will, and do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Until next time, Wayfarer, keep doing good magic, and I will see you once again in the abodes of the future. Good. I appreciate that, Dave. I will see you and everyone else in the abodes of the future, and feel free to call in anytime. Like I said, I'm going to take a quick break. I got to make some breakfast for my kids, or lunch at this point, but they slept in today because it's Saturday. And until next time, good magic, everyone.